What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. All right, so I want to talk about the Meek Mill, Peter Thompson lace front situation. All right. Um, apparently, Makisha Mill and Peter Rika Thompson have some sort of an issue with lace front wigs, and they feel the need to broadcast this out here to let everybody know how they feel about lace front wigs. All right. So I'll start with Meek Mill first. All right, Meek Mill, perhaps maybe he was trying to just take a dig at Nicki Minaj. I'm not sure, but he took to social media and basically said he ain't feeling lace front wigs. The receipts are out there. Go look for yourself. All right, he ain't feeling lace front wigs, so he posted about it and he made a few more posts about it, talking about he likes women who look natural and look pretty much just all natural, right? Which I'm like, okay, all right. No one asked, but okay, all right. But then I'm like, well, what about Nicki Minaj? Like, she ain't all natural and she wears lace front wigs, right? But he made sure to get with Nicki Minaj, and hey, I ain't knocking him. That's the biggest hit and the most success his career has seen, as far as I know. Um, so all right. But what's the deal though? Like, kind of like, where did this come from? It seems a bit random, but I think he was trying to take a dig at Nicki Minaj, I guess. So he kind of came through and just said some things about lace front wigs. But some black women got offended, and also it could seem like he's speaking in code too, where it's like, oh, lace front wigs, natural, as in basically he's saying like black women stop wearing hair that's not yours and be natural, right? This whole shit that these Negroes like to push, right? They like to push this shit for some reason about black women being natural, all natural, no sort of a like basically just wearing your hair in its natural state, right? And it sounds all well and good and it sounds nice until you really analyze it and see where it's coming from. Because a lot of times this type of stuff doesn't really seem to come from a good place. As sad as that is, it doesn't seem to come from a good place. Whereas like, oh, I just want black women to embrace their natural selves and to have a positive image of self, higher self-esteem. A lot of times it ain't even coming from that situation. It's just coming from let's just nitpick. All right, let's just attack a motherfucker. Just attack a motherfucker, right? Because it's fun, right? Because sometimes is what's at play. But sometimes these, women, especially like the brown skin, dark skin sisters, be falling for it and acting like these dudes are just so, team natural, you know, excuse me. So team natural, and it sounds good, and the women, I can understand them wanting to hear that and wanting to believe that, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem to reflect reality, because does Meek Mill put those women in his music videos? I don't know. I never watched a Meek Mill music video. Does he put those women in, well, does he date those type of women? Does he have his children by those type of women? Does he marry those type of women? Does he even have side chicks as those type of women? Are those women involved in any aspect of his romantic life? Not like, oh, his mom or stuff and his sister, but like, a romantic type of thing. I don't know. And sometimes I think folks kind of say shit. I'm just going to keep it real. Sometimes I think when it comes to these brown skin and dark skin brothers, sometimes I think they say this whole team natural shit just to get some kudos, just to get some attention, just, to get a cookie, to get a Nobel Peace Prize for coming through and saying something that sounds nice, right? Saying pretty words, right? But the thing is, if the pretty words don't reflect your reality, your lived reality, then they're just pretty words. They don't have any meaning or substance behind them. It's like, for example, like if Michael B. Jordan came out and said how much he loves the brown skin, dark skin sisters. He loves the chocolate mocha sisters, right? And then we have, say, Lance Gross come out and say the same thing. Oh, he loves the chocolate mocha sisters. He's, team natural, team black, right? The team black queen, right? Then you have Kevin Hart come out and say the same thing. He just loves the dark skin, brown skin sisters, right? On the surface, those are great words, but when you start to really look at, who the words are, where the words are coming from, and who's saying those words, then you might, wait a minute. Well, like, I'm looking at your life, and it doesn't seem to really reflect your reality. Michael B. Jordan, I haven't seen him with a black woman of any shade. Lance Gross, he's dating light, bright, basic exoticals. And Kevin Hart, he's made disparaging jokes about dark-skinned women, and he's with a light, bright exotical himself. So, you know what I mean? It's like the words don't have meaning, or don't have it's like they don't have meaning. They don't have any substance behind them. They just pretty words that are ultimately empty, though. That's the thing. And that's the game that I see that's being ran on brown skin and dark skin black women. Now, I'm not saying that every single brown skin, dark skin brother is like that and just don't want nothing to do with the brown skin, dark skin sisters, because that's not true. All right, that's not true. But sometimes I just see the game that some of these Negroes like to run. I've seen it play out on my own YouTube channel, by the way, where these same, like, on one thread, on one comment section of one video, these dudes are saying positive things about brown skin and dark skin black women. Then on the next video thread, they're saying something low-key negative about them. And sometimes even on the same video comment section thread. So what I'm saying is just, take everything with a grain of salt. I hate to say that when it comes to something like this, but take it with a grain of salt and kind of just, let the actions speak. After all, actions do speak louder than words, right? All right, so next I'm going to move on to Peter Thompson. All right, so Peter Thompson here. He, Meek Mill, I will say that he didn't specify black women of any skin tone. I will say that at least. So it's more like perhaps he's speaking in code, or either he could just be speaking in general. Yeah. But Peter Thompson, he did make sure to specify black women and even specified a skin tone, dark-skinned black women. All right. And of course, he being a dark-skinned black man, it's even more fucked up, right? Because a lot of times, these are the Negroes that's supposed to be protecting the brown skin and dark skin sisters, who are supposed to be down for brown and dark skin. Not just brown and dark skinned men, but brown and dark skinned people. And again, he has a brown skin, or a dark skinned daughter that people were throwing up like, oh, he's not colorist. Look, he has a dark-skinned daughter, as if that absolves you of colorism, as if you cannot compartmentalize and make your child the exception to the rule. Just ask Gilbert Arenas. You know, Lil Wayne. Who else? You know the list. Kevin Hart, right? So Peter Rika Thompson is saying basically he don't like seeing dark-skinned women with blonde hair, right? And I meant to put this out here earlier as a disclaimer, but I'll put it up here now and say that we all have a right to have dating preferences. I'm not trying to dictate anyone's dating preferences. I'm not trying to police where anybody ends up, etc. Right? I'm not trying to really do that. But the thing is, it's kind of like, well, no one asked though. Did anyone ask for Peter Thompson's opinion about this? I don't remember anybody asking. But apparently he felt the need to specify, well, to announce this on social media, I guess, and to make a video about it. Right? I'm pretty sure we have like more important things to focus on as a community besides, dark-skinned black women's choice in hair color, right? We got police brutality, we got R. Kelly trying to molest, every other underage girl in the community. Shoot, we got discrimination in the labor force and the job market. Heck, we got some things that we gotta deal with ourselves. Heck, we got black women getting assaulted on the job when they at work at McDonald's. All right, so it's strange that this is what you would talk about, right? This is what comes up. This is strange, but it does kind of just speak to people's priorities and what people are concerned about, right? And also, Peter Thompson was kind of low-key caught up in some colorist mess a while ago. Probably like, I don't know when, maybe like sometime in like April, May-ish of 2018, but he was caught up in some colorist BS because his baby mama, who's Dominican, Afro-Latina, I guess. That's what he's saying. I don't know. I don't think she really claims her blackness like that, which is fine. I don't give a damn. But don't try to just claim your baby mama's blackness when convenient so you can sidestep having to talk about colorism. But, it was some little bit of a colorist thing that happened with her where her son that she has with Peter Thompson said, he referred to himself as being a black kid. And she was like, no, you're brown, not black. And people kind of felt a little taken aback by that, right? And, the son also had referred to Peter Thompson's skin tone as like the skin tone that's like a freshly paved road or something. That some people kind of got offended by that too. And then Peter Thompson came through and said, basically, it ain't none of your business. Mind your business. Get a life, right? We got more important things to talk about, right? About that situation. But now Peter Thompson wants to come through and talk about hair and lace front wigs and color. It's like, how is this? Like, this is a more important situation, But it's typical though, like, personally, I don't think that Peter Thompson really. I don't think he doesn't strike me as someone who would really care about the colorism plight of dark-skinned black women. And he kind of seems like he may be perhaps colorist himself to an extent, perhaps, And a lot of times people talking about, oh, they have dark-skinned kids, so they can't be colorists, right? But we all know that the more successful the guys get, usually, the more access of different types of women they have access to. And also, sometimes these dudes will just dumpster dive, especially like brown skin and dark skin black men. They'll dumpster dive when it comes to, especially when it comes to exoticals. They will dumpster dive behind the nearest Mexican restaurant, behind the nearest Chinese restaurant, behind the nearest Italian restaurant. You know, heck, as quiet as it's kept, even behind the nearest soul food restaurant, these dudes would go dumpster diving for dates. So, you know, that's a bit of a sidebar, but I just need to throw that in there too. So again, you stop getting, don't get distracted, right? It's kind of like a magician doing a magic trick. He wants you to look here, like look over here, look over here, but really he's doing something like over here, right? Don't get distracted by that. Keep your eyes focused, all right? But I don't really want to go on for too long about this because, you know, I don't really think Makisha Mills and Peter Rika Thompson, you know. But at this point, I'm like, what is wrong with you chocolate chip niggas, man? What is wrong with you chocolate chip niggas this year? Y'all is wilding out. And the year just started. We just, what? We not even a month into the year yet, and y'all Negroes already wilding out. I don't know. But, you know. And by the way, I'm like, you know, this is another instance that goes to show you that, you know, I don't think the black men tend to view black women as being victims of white supremacy like they view themselves as being, right? It's no, like, oh, no one's coming through and saying, oh, you know, these women could be suffering from, like, you know, having to deal with like a European beauty standard that they don't fit into and that they want to fit into and that, you know, the men of their community adhere to, at least to a good extent, right? No one really comes through with that portion of it, right? Usually, if someone comes through, it's just to sweep it under the rug at best. Like, hey, you know, we got better things to talk about, or we got more important things to talk about, right? But, you know, if this was like some brown skin, dark skin dude getting attacked, it would be different. People would come through, especially these mammy, matriarchal mules, these pick-me's, you know, the the super mammies, the captain pick-me's, the matriarchal mules. You know how they do, you know. They'll come through defending them and putting their issues before their own issues, right? Because they're just so desperate for a cookie, right? But I'm going to bring this video to a close. But what do you think? Let me know in the comment section. Adios and goodbye for now.